What if I told you that intimacy after 70 isn't over? It's just waiting to be rediscovered. Hello, my dear friends. I'm Dr. Susan Hartley, and I'm so glad you're here. If you're a woman in your 70s or beyond, and you've been wondering, is this just how it is now? I want you to know, you are not alone. Intimacy may feel like it's fading, physically, emotionally, or even spiritually, but the truth is, it doesn't have to. Today, we're going to talk about something that's not often discussed, but deeply important. The 5 silent killers of female intimacy after 70 and how to reverse them naturally. These killers are sneaky. They creep in quietly, through our thoughts, habits, health, and even culture, until we start believing that closeness, desire, or affection just aren't for us anymore. But that's not true, not even a little bit. Let's uncover what's really going on, and how you can gently, naturally, bring intimacy back into your life, in your way, and on your terms. The quiet, sometimes painful shame we carry about our changing bodies. As women in our 70s and beyond, we have lived through generations that equated beauty with youth. Thin skin, firm thighs, perky breasts. Those were the standards we were told to strive for, and now here we are with a body that has carried us through decades of life. Births, losses, illness, hard work, joy, and we're somehow supposed to feel embarrassed by it. No, my dear, that's not fair and it's not true, but shame has a sneaky way of creeping in. You might notice it in little things, avoiding the mirror after a shower, dimming the lights during intimacy, or saying no to closeness because you feel too old, too saggy, or not attractive. That inner voice can be so cruel, can't it? You may think, "Her couldn't possibly still want me," or "What's the point anymore?" And slowly, without even realizing it, we begin to disconnect. Not just from our partners, but from our own bodies. I want you to know, your body is not broken, it's not ugly, it is wise, it is lived in, it is sacred, and it is absolutely still capable of intimacy, touch, and even pleasure. But first, we must begin to repair the relationship we have with ourselves, not with creams or surgeries, but with kindness. One of the most powerful ways to reconnect with your body is through touch, gentle, intentional, loving touch. I often recommend to my patients, start with something simple like massaging your hands or feet with warm coconut or almond oil before bed. Do it slowly. Breathe while you do it. Thank your body as you go. Thank you, feet, for carrying me. Thank you, belly, for nourishing me. You may feel silly at first, but give it time. This small act of care begins to retrain your mind to see your body as a friend, not an enemy. If you're in a relationship, start having open conversations about what intimacy looks like now. You don't have to perform or pretend. You don't have to be like you used to. That's gone. And something new can grow in its place. Maybe it's holding hands. Maybe it's cuddling under a blanket. Maybe it's rediscovering sensuality at a slower pace, with more presence and less pressure. Intimacy doesn't have to mean sex. It can mean connection, comfort, and tenderness. It's about being seen and being close, in whatever way feels right for you. And if you're not in a relationship right now, this connection to your body is even more vital. You still deserve to feel beautiful, to feel worthy of affection, even if it's just coming from you. Light a candle while you moisturize. Wear something soft that makes you feel good. Dance slowly to your favorite old record in your living room. Let your body know you haven't forgotten it. It's still yours. It still matters. Letting go of shame is not a one-time fix. It's a gentle practice. It's catching those critical thoughts and replacing them with compassion. It's remembering that every wrinkle, every scar, every stretch mark, it's all a part of your story. And that story deserves to be honored, not hidden. You don't have to be who you were at 30 or 50 or even 69. You get to be you, now, and you are enough. Now let's talk about something just as damaging, but often more hidden: emotional distance. It happens slowly. Maybe you've been with your partner for 40 or 50 years. You've shared a home, raised kids, survived losses, and settled into a rhythm. But somewhere along the way, the deep conversation stopped. You talk about the weather, the errands, the doctor's appointments, but not your feelings, not your hopes, your fears, your longings. And without realizing it, the emotional bond begins to wear thin. Intimacy suffers, because where there's distance in the heart, there's usually distance in the body. Or perhaps you're in a newer relationship, and you're afraid to speak up. Maybe you've been widowed or divorced, and are now learning to be close to someone again, but there's fear. What if they don't understand me? What if I'm too complicated? What if they see the parts of me I've worked so hard to hide? And so, silence creeps in, and with silence comes separation. Resentment can grow too, quietly, like moss on a stone. Maybe you felt ignored when you were struggling. Maybe your needs were dismissed, or your affection wasn't returned. These little hurts build up over the years, and if we don't clear them out, they harden. We become protective, guarded, and without even knowing why, we stop reaching out, stop touching, stop trying. But here's the beautiful truth. Emotional intimacy can be rebuilt, even after years of silence, even after decades of distance. It starts small. I often encourage couples, or even close friends, to try what I call a 15-minute connection ritual. Once or twice a week, set aside 15 minutes to just talk. Sit facing each other. No TVs. One person speaks, the other listens. No interrupting, no advice. Just listening. Then switch. You can talk about anything. How you're feeling. A memory from your past. Something you're worried about. Or something that made you smile. You'd be amazed what happens when two people truly listen to each other. The walls begin to soften. You remember who you are, and who they are. Sometimes there are tears, sometimes laughter, but always connection, and from that emotional connection, intimacy begins to reawaken. If you're feeling emotionally distant but your partner isn't open to talking, start with small gestures. A touch on the arm. A handwritten note left on the pillow. A warm smile across the room. Emotional closeness isn't built overnight. It's built moment by moment over time. And you have the power to begin it. And if you're single, this is just as important. Emotional intimacy isn't only for romantic partners, it's for friends, family, even yourself. Practice being vulnerable. Call an old friend and share a real update. Journal about how you're truly feeling. The more emotionally connected you are to yourself, the more naturally physical intimacy, if and when it comes, will feel safe and nourishing. My dear women, you have every right to deep, meaningful connection, both with your body and with others. These silent killers, shame and emotional distance, do not define you. And they do not get the final word. You do. Every day, you have the chance to choose tenderness, to choose honesty, and to choose love, in whatever form it takes. One of the most common things I hear from women in their 70s and beyond is this: I just don't have the energy anymore. And I want you to know, you're not alone. Fatigue, tiredness, and that heavy sense of not having the spark you once had are incredibly common at this stage of life. But common doesn't mean normal, and it certainly doesn't mean you have to settle for it. When our energy is low, everything feels like a chore, including intimacy. Whether it's emotional closeness, physical touch, or even getting dressed in something soft and pretty, we often say to ourselves, I just don't feel like it. And over time, that tiredness can steal not only our desire for intimacy but our joy and confidence too. We start to believe that we're just too old for passion or affection. But I want to gently challenge that belief. Because sometimes low energy isn't about age, it's about care. Or rather, the lack of it. At this point in life, many of us are managing multiple health issues, medications, sleep problems, arthritis, digestive issues, or even loneliness. All of these can sap our energy. On top of that, we may be caring for a spouse, dealing with grief, or adjusting to major life changes. It's no wonder we're tired. But there's a big difference between needing rest and living in constant fatigue. Start by asking yourself, when do I feel most drained? Is it after meals, after certain social interactions? Is it physical exhaustion or emotional burnout? Try keeping a little energy journal, nothing fancy. Just jot down a few notes each day about your sleep, your meals, your mood, and your activity level. Over a week or two, you may start to notice patterns. Maybe your sleep is broken, or you're not drinking enough water. These little clues can tell us a lot. There are also small, natural ways to begin reclaiming your energy. The first is movement. And I'm not talking about exercise in the gym. I mean gentle, daily movement, like walking slowly around the block, stretching in the morning, or dancing in your kitchen to a song from the 60s that makes you smile. Movement gets your blood flowing, your oxygen circulating, and your body waking back up. It doesn't take much. Even 10 minutes a day can help shift your entire mood. Another powerful tool is hydration. It sounds so simple, but many women don't drink enough water. Dehydration can lead to headaches, fatigue, and even confusion. Try starting your day with a full glass of water before your coffee or tea. Add a little lemon or cucumber if you like flavor. Throughout the day, sip slowly. Think of it as watering a plant. You need it to bloom. Food also plays a role. You don't need a strict diet, but notice how you feel after eating. Heavy, processed meals can make you sluggish. Lighter, colorful meals, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, a little protein, can keep you more energized. If you feel low energy right after lunch or dinner, try smaller portions or lighter foods. There are some natural herbs that have been used for generations to support energy, like ashwagandha, rhodiola, or ginseng. But please, always talk to your doctor before adding herbs, especially if you're on medications. What works beautifully for one woman may not be safe for another. And finally, be gentle with yourself. Fatigue isn't a failure. It's a signal. Your body may be saying, "Please take care of me." Sometimes that means rest. Sometimes it means nourishment. And sometimes it simply means slowing down enough to hear what you truly need. When you begin restoring your energy, even in small ways, intimacy often follows. You feel more alive, more connected, more open to love, touch, and presence. Which brings me to another silent intimacy killer, the gradual loss of sensual touch. This one breaks my heart, because it happens so quietly that we barely notice it. But over time, it can leave us feeling invisible, untouched, and emotionally disconnected from our partners and even from ourselves. Many women stop receiving or giving sensual touch after a certain age. We stop holding hands. We stop kissing hello or goodbye. We stop sitting close on the couch or brushing a hand across a cheek. And without those gentle forms of affection, our bodies and our hearts begin to forget what it feels like to be cherished. This happens for many reasons. Sometimes a partner becomes ill or disabled. Sometimes there's a history of hurt or conflict that's never been resolved. Sometimes we simply fall into routines that leave no room for tenderness. And sometimes we believe, wrongly, that we're no longer allowed to be sensual, that our age has disqualified us from desire or affection. But the truth is, sensuality is not about sex. It's not about youth or performance or looking a certain way. Sensuality is about presence, about tuning into your senses, your touch, your breath, your pleasure. It's about giving and receiving warmth, kindness, and attention in the body, and every woman, at every age, deserves that. You can begin reintroducing sensual touch into your life gently and naturally. One of my favorite practices is simply placing a hand over your heart or on your cheek and sitting quietly for a moment. Feel the warmth of your skin. Feel your own aliveness. That's where it starts. With you. If you have a partner, try inviting small moments of touch back into your relationship. Not in a pressured or goal-oriented way, but softly. Sit close on the couch and hold hands while watching television. Give a back rub with lavender oil. Brush their hair. Let them brush yours. Share a warm bath or foot soak together. These may seem like small things, but they're deeply powerful. They create safety. They awaken the body. They restore connection. Even simple eye contact, a long, quiet gaze can be deeply sensual. It says, "I see you. I'm here." And often, that's all we really want. If you're not in a relationship, sensual touch is still for you. Wrap yourself in a soft blanket. Stroke your arm slowly with a feather or a silk scarf. Apply lotion slowly and lovingly after a shower. Wear fabrics that feel good on your skin. Light a candle and sit in stillness, feeling your breath rise and fall. These are not luxuries. They are nourishment. You are allowed to feel good in your body, even, and especially, when no one is watching. Sensuality does not end when you stop being touched by others. It ends only when you stop touching your own life with care and attention, and you can bring it back, anytime, even now. You see, the human body is wired for touch. It is how we first experience the world, and it is how we stay connected, even when words fail. The body remembers, the skin remembers, and even if it's been years or decades since you last felt that spark of sensual aliveness, it is never too late to rediscover it. So many women think intimacy is about being wanted, but true intimacy, deep lasting intimacy, begins with being known. And the first person who needs to know and honor your body, your energy, and your desires is you. Let's take a moment to talk about something that affects more women than we often realize: hormonal imbalances. Now, I know, when we hear the word hormones, we often think about younger women, menopause, or hot flashes. But the truth is, even well after menopause, our hormones continue to influence how we feel, how we think, and yes, how we connect intimately. After 70, your estrogen and progesterone levels are naturally much lower than they used to be. That's a normal part of aging. But just because it's common doesn't mean we should ignore how it makes us feel. Low estrogen, in particular, can lead to vaginal dryness, thinning of the vaginal walls, a drop in natural lubrication, and increased sensitivity or discomfort during physical intimacy. And when something that once felt tender and pleasurable starts to feel uncomfortable or even painful, it's only natural to start pulling away from that part of life. But beyond the physical symptoms, hormonal shifts can also affect our mood and desire. You might feel more irritable, more withdrawn, or less interested in closeness. Sometimes this leads women to wonder, is there something wrong with me? No, my dear, not at all. This is your body's way of adapting, and there are gentle, natural ways to support it. Let's talk about a few of those options. First, vaginal dryness is one of the most common and disruptive changes, and it can be addressed. You don't have to suffer in silence. There are natural lubricants, made without synthetic chemicals, that can offer immediate comfort. Look for products with aloe vera, vitamin E or coconut oil. Always patch test, of course, and avoid anything with fragrance or alcohol. Beyond that, there are also vaginal moisturizers, not just for intimacy but for daily care. Think of it like lotion for your skin, only it's for your most delicate areas. Used regularly, these can help maintain elasticity, comfort, and moisture. Some women also explore plant-based estrogen creams or supplements like black cohosh or maca root, which may support hormonal balance gently. But always talk with your healthcare provider first, especially if you have a history of cancer or other conditions. And don't underestimate the power of blood flow. One of the biggest reasons for discomfort and loss of sensation in the intimate areas is reduced circulation. Gentle movement, walking, stretching, even yoga for seniors. All of these help keep the pelvic area healthy. Some women even find that pelvic floor exercises like Kegels improve both comfort and confidence. It's never too late to reconnect with your body in this way. The beautiful thing is, when we treat our bodies with care and attention, they often respond with grace. You may never feel exactly like you did at 30, but you can feel comfortable, alive, and deeply connected again. You deserve that. Let's move into the final point, and in many ways, it's the one that ties everything together: a lack of self-worth. Oh, this is a tender one. You see, for many women, especially those who have spent their lives caring for others, we start to believe, without even realizing it, that our needs don't matter, that we're too old to be desired, that our time for intimacy, romance, or pleasure has come and gone. I want you to hear this clearly: that is simply not true. Your worth is not tied to your age, your appearance, or your relationship status. It's not measured by how much you do or how many people you take care of. Your worth is in who you are, in the life you've lived, in the wisdom in your eyes and the strength in your soul. And that worth doesn't fade, it deepens. When we lose sight of our worth, we stop seeking connection, we stop believing we're lovable. And when we don't believe we are lovable, intimacy feels out of reach. But what if, just for today, you chose to believe something else? What if you chose to believe that your presence is enough? That your body, as it is good? That your heart still has gifts to give and receive? Start there. Start with one kind word to yourself in the mirror. Start by treating yourself like someone you love. Cook a nourishing meal, not because you have to, but because you deserve it. Wear earrings or lipstick not to impress anyone, but because it makes you smile. Let your worth show up in small ways every day. And remember, it's not selfish to want connection. It's not vain to want to feel attractive. It's not silly to long for touch or closeness or tenderness. Those are human needs. They don't expire with age. In fact, they often deepen. You've lived a life full of experience, and now you have the right to softness, to romance, to desire. So let's rewrite the story. Let's stop seeing intimacy as something reserved for the young. Let's stop believing that after 70 we fade into the background. No, my beautiful friend, you are still here. You are still vibrant. You are still worthy of love in all its forms. And it's never too late to reclaim it.